What's up guys, Excalibur here and welcome back to another Star Ocean Anamnesis character guide. So, Evelysse has donned her Christmas outfit and somehow it gave her a completely new skill set. I'm not sure how that works, but let's get started. Winter Evelysse is a very mobile and quite tanky defender. Her first talent, Holiday Heroine, reduces the amount of damage she takes by 30% while she's attacking, and it reduces the amount of attack damage the entire party takes by 15% when the hit count is at 50 hits or more. Now, with how quickly Evelysse can attack, you're probably going to be attacking with her a lot, so you could look at that as a standard 30% damage decrease, and a 50 hit count is not that bad to reach, so just 15% less attack damage taken for the entire party. And her second talent, Radiant Snow Crystal, increases single target damage dealt by 20% when the hit count is below 150 and by 40% when the hit count is above 150. 150 hits is pretty steep to reach, especially at this point in the game. It's going to keep getting easier and easier to hit that requirement, but 20% single target damage is not too bad, and if you manage to get that 150, that's 40% extra damage, so that's really nice. Her third talent, Snowdrop, increases the HP of the entire party by 20% and gives them an anti-flinch when they're taking damage of 20% or less. So this gives the party a bit more bulk, which means some more room for error, and the same thing goes for the anti-flinch, some more room for error, so that's very nice. And lastly, we have Miracle Symbology, increases Eve's attack by 15% and her HP by 15%. And this is just a small bonus on top of an already excellent talent set. So on to her battle skills. Her first skill is called Resplendent Blades. Throw a broken sword toward your enemy at a high speed. Its power is determined by multiplying attack by 150%. It does 6 hits, costs 15 AP, and it has an ice element. This attack is pretty amazing. You can use it from range, it does a lot of hits, which helps Eve to build that hit count, and it doesn't cost that much AP, so you can use it as an excellent combo opener. Very nice overall. And then we have Enchanting Twin Thrust. Thrust forward twice. Its power is determined by multiplying attack by 200%, does 2 hits, costs 20 AP, and it has a fire element. Now, in my opinion, this attack is kind of inferior to all of Eve's other attacks. It's slow, it only does 2 hits, and it does have a fire element, but normally you're running an elemental weapon anyway, which kind of makes that fire element obsolete. I wouldn't recommend running this. And up next we have Threefold Blast. Unleash a series of shockwaves at your foe. Its power is determined by multiplying attack by 230%. It does 6 hits and it costs 21 AP. This attack is pretty amazing. 6 hits is good for building that hit count, and you can use it from range, which should be a little safer, I hope. And then we have Helix Blade. Cut down foes around you with a spiraling attack. Its power is determined by multiplying attack by 550%. It does 5 hits and it costs 31 AP. And this is Eve's combo finisher. It does a lot of damage, it looks really pretty, and if you're fighting a large group of enemies, it's also pretty good for charging your rush. So you have no reason not to run this. And lastly we have her rush, Snowman Press. Crush your foe with a giant snowman, then beset them. Its power is determined by multiplying attack by 4000%. It has an ice element, and as a post-rush buff, it reduces Eve's AP costs by 40% and increases her attack by 30% for 20 seconds. This rush is incredibly beastly. Eve has a very nice attack stat, which means this rush functions very well as a rush combo finisher, and that post-rush buff makes Eve's damage skyrocket. If you can element burst stun whatever you're fighting after your rush combo, Eve will completely annihilate it. Alright, now moving on to equipment. First of all, I recommend the Crimson Fork Tridents. You can get these from the gacha. So these imbue your attacks with light, they give you an extra chance to do crits, and they give you some extra crit damage. So these increase your damage output drastically, mostly because of the crits, but if you're fighting something weak to light, that also kind of helps. And then secondly, I recommend the Twin Koro Swords. These can also be obtained from the gacha. They imbue your attacks with ice, they give you a 100% increase on AP recovery on normal attacks, and at max limit break they give you a small life steal. So you would mostly use these against enemies weak to ice, but they could also be useful in situations where you get into a lobby without a 2B or a Claude. That AP recovery on normals helps a ton. Now, if you can't get your hands on either of these weapons and you're looking for a bit more survivability, I recommend the Baphomet's Blades. You can get these from the coin shop, and these actually give you a 10% HP vamp. Eve, unfortunately, does not have a way to heal herself, so the HP vamp on these weapons can keep her alive if you're not playing with a healer. And if you're wondering about accessories, I recommend the Jinxed Necklace. You could have gotten this one from the Pumpkin Cryptvine event. It gives you a 5% rush damage increase, and it gives you a 30% chance of surviving a lethal attack at 10% HP or more. This thing does a fantastic job of increasing Eve's already amazing rush damage even more, and the Guts also helps with keeping her alive because, you know, as a defender, she's going to be drawing a lot of aggro, so she needs some way to survive. Now on to the battle skill setup. So first, I recommend you equip the Resplendent Blades skill because it's a great combo opener and it's good for building the hit count. Then secondly, I recommend Threefold Blast because Resplendent Blades combos nicely into this attack and it's just pretty good in and of itself. And lastly, we have Helix Blade, because it's just a really strong combo finisher. That's pretty much it. So, if you're running this setup, your combo would look like this. A normal attack into Resplendent Blades, into Threefold Blast, into as many Helix Blades as you can fit. Usually that's 2, but post-rush that could be 1,000,000. So this combo is good for doing a lot of damage, and you can see Resplendent Blades and Threefold Blast are both long-range attacks, so you can charge assault Resplendent Blades, which means that Eve dashes backwards away from the enemy, and then you can start attacking from range, and you can use that to avoid some incoming attacks and then go right back in with Helix Blade and finish them off. And if you're looking for a completely ranged combo, you could just alternate between Resplendent Blades and Threefold Blast. Now, something else that's worthy to note is that Resplendent Blades is really good at building the hit count. I know I've been saying that the entire time, but it's just really good. If you want to build that hit count, keep spamming Resplendent Blades, or you could also just do the ranged combo. That also works nicely. So to summarize, Eve is incredibly fast because she uses the dual blades. She's the most mobile defender in the game, able to keep up with even some of our attackers, so make good use of that movement. She also has an incredibly large amount of HP, which means she can tank a lot of attacks and is also very safe to play. She also has some good damage output, especially post-rush, and she gives the party a standard 20% single target damage up, and if you meet the hit count requirements, that becomes 40%, which is a pretty large increase. But she unfortunately has no way to heal herself, so if you're not running a weapon that has lifesteal, you have to rely on your teammates. Overall, she's a very good character, and she will make any party she's in a whole lot stronger. Alright, and that does it for my Winter Evelysse character guide. That means one of the 4 Christmas characters is now down. Yes, you heard me right, I said 4, which means I'm going to cover Tearful Welch as well. Oh boy, that's going to be fun. Regardless, hope that was helpful, and I guess I'll see you all next time. Peace!